Welcome to Soul Therapy with Chelle. I am Chelle Griffin and I practice as a soul doula. I combine therapeutic knowledge and lived experience with a healthy dose of spiritual exploration. Feel welcome to join me as we learn and grow together, exploring the magic and wonderment of experiencing life on earth as a spiritual being. Welcome to Soul Therapy with Chelle, a space where we open our hearts, explore our souls, and sit together in deep reflection. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. Today's episode is a tender one. It's about humanity, about how we care for one another, or sometimes how we don't, and about the ways we can choose love, kindness, and compassion in a world that often feels divided. I'm currently traveling through Europe. I'm very aware of my privilege. On one particular day, I was walking through Ephesus in Turkey. There were cats and dogs meandering freely amongst the ancient ruins. Our guide explained that these animals are strays, but they're welcomed there. They're vaccinated, fed, and watered by the group of people who volunteer and are on the committee for keeping the ancient ruins safe, protected, and intact. These animals, they belong. Later that very same day, our cruise ship stopped in the middle of the sea very late at night. A dinghy full of refugees had been spotted. Families screaming for help, even a baby on board. We waited until the Greek Coast Guard came to their rescue. Two images on the same day. Animals being cared for as part of a community, and humans, desperate and terrified, begging to be seen and saved. That contrast shook me, especially as an Australian, because not long before this trip, I'd seen news of a march back home, Australians protesting against immigration, Australians protesting against people seeking safety, seeking a life free from war, persecution, or poverty, and I felt disheartened. I grew up believing Australians were easygoing, generous, and welcoming, yet here was a different story. And as I sat in Mykonos later, enjoying Greek food, I realised if it weren't for immigration to Australia, Greek, Australian, Greek, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, African, I wouldn't have the curiosity to travel to these places, to learn about their food, their beliefs, their culture. Immigration has enriched my life, my plate, my friendships, and I'm also aware of my own heritage. Whilst I was born in Australia, my lineage goes back to being part of colonisation from the British and European countries and peoples. So how can I claim to be Australian when others who have immigrated here also are seen not to be considered as Australian? I am just so aware of that irony. But when I look back at childhood, I remember something else. Kids from other cultures were teased, bullied, and ridiculed, and many of us didn't speak up. Whilst I didn't join in, I did stay silent, and silence is complicity too. That's something I've had to face in myself. The ways we go quiet around racism, sexism, ageism, homophobia, ableism. Australians are known for our humour. Australians are known for our humour, sarcasm, and yes, it can be fun. But when the punchline is at the expense of someone's culture, their body, their skin colour, their gender, then it's not funny. It's cruelty disguised as humour. What kind of world do we want? I ask myself and I ask you, what kind of world do we want? For me, I'm seeking love, seeking understanding, I'm seeking kindness, a world where we listen to each other, not to argue or retort, but to truly understand, where we listen with compassion, curiosity, empathy, and care, because when we really listen, walls come down. When we really listen, our differences don't divide us, they connect us. So how do we create that world? How do we move from silence, judgment, or fear into love, courage, and care? Here are some suggestions and ways we can practice compassionate listening. When someone shares their story, pause. Don't jump in with your response. Ask instead, what might it feel like to be them right now? We can speak up when we witness harm. Silence protects the bully, not the victim. Even a simple, hey, that's not okay, can shift the energy in a room. And then we're modeling to our children and those around us that we don't stand for cruelty. We can educate ourselves, read stories written by refugees, First Nations people, LGBTQ plus voices, people with disabilities. Understanding grows when we hear directly from those living the experience. Be curious, not defensive. Instead of shutting down when we're challenged, ask, tell me more, help me understand. We can choose daily kindness. Care doesn't always look like grand gestures. It's how we greet a neighbour, how we speak to a shop assistant, how we treat those who serve us. And notice our humour. Laugh with people, not at them. Humour can connect, but it can also cut. Be mindful of the difference. I believe humanity is at its best when we care for one another. Not only our friends, our family, our community, but also the stranger, the refugee, the person whose life looks nothing like ours. We can't control global politics, but we can control how we treat the people in front of us. We can choose to be people who see, who care, who welcome. So I want to leave you with a question to reflect on this week. Where in your life could you listen with more compassion or act with more kindness? Because if enough of us do this, if enough of us refuse to be silent, refuse to turn away, then maybe, just maybe, we can shift the tide. Thank you for sitting with me today in this tender space. If this episode touched you, please share it with a friend or leave a review so others can find it. And if you're looking for a more soul-nourishing conversation, come join me over on Instagram at _ShelleGriffin_ or at ShelleGriffin.com. Until next time, may you walk with love, listen with compassion, and hold humanity with care. Thank you for showing up for yourself by listening to Soul Therapy with Chelle. Feel welcome to subscribe to my podcast, share the pod with your friends, family, colleagues, and neighbours. And please, if you are willing, I would absolutely love a 5-star review to give my little pod a boost in the algorithms. For further detail on how to work with me, please visit my website, www.shellegriffin.com, or find me on the socials. I hope you'll join me on my next episode. Till then, go gently and intentionally. With care, Chelle.